Madam Toastmaster, Mr. Toastmaster. And yes, I've been practicing Madam all week. I don't know. Without getting too loquacious, today I hope to spin before you a fascinating, extraordinary, and bigger-than-life tale about friendships, romance, professional partnerships, and along the way, I'm going to drop on you some of the most delicious gossip that comes all the way back to this very room. You can hold me to that, and we'll see. When Rudolf Nureyev defected from Russia as the first artist to defect from the Soviet Union, one of the things that he knew about himself, he knew he was the greatest artist in the world, because he was. But he had technical difficulties because he started out very late in his training. So the first thing that he wanted to do was to head up to Copenhagen, because when he was in the Kirov ballet school in St. Petersburg, no, Leningrad, he had seen Erik Bruhn. He was the greatest ballet dancer, male dancer in the West. And he was incredibly adept at like precision dancing, which is what he needed. So he started taking lessons from him. Along the way, they became, let's say, an item. And that part lasted about a decade, but they were friends for the rest of their lives. The really sad thing in this whole thing was Nureyev just absorbed all of those training that he had gotten from Bruhn. And Bruhn had been, as I said, the #1 ballet dancer in the West. Nureyev just shot to the top. He just skyrocketed and left Bruhn in the dirt. And Bruhn had to sort of deal with that. Now, he was always a devoted friend to Nureyev, but because of that, Nureyev had become just this extraordinary dancer, not just with that charisma, but with the precision as well. Now, back in that period, his major ballerina in the early part of his career was a Bulgarian named Sonya Arova. And she was the first dancer that he danced with in the premier North America. And they would travel around. Well, the gossip is Sonya Arova was Erik Bruhn's former girlfriend. I kid you not. And the three of them ended up traveling all the way around the world dancing together as friends and all this stuff. It's not a story that you would hear in Ballard that much. But it happened. But the thing, Dawn, that is so shocking in all this is that Sonya Arova was the ballet teacher of our very own Sylvia Cook.
Oh my God.
And because of that, all of us are 3 degrees of separation from Rudolf Nureyev himself, and she is the lucky person, 2 degrees. So there you go. Isn't she beautiful? Well, about this time, there started this thing with Margot Fonteyn, named Margot Fonteyn. She was the undisputed queen ballerina of the world. But she was like 43 years old. I mean, that's when most ballerinas start getting ready to retire. It's very hard on the body. But they kept trying to get her to dance with Nureyev. And at one point she said, you know, me dancing with Nureyev would be like mutton going out with lamb. But they finally ended up meeting. And it was just one of these eventful meetings because Nureyev had always, with all of his other partners, sort of dominated them and sort of, you know, he had his way. Well, the moment he met her, he instantly knew he was in the big leagues. And she had, have you ever had a woman that had your number, Dawn? Have you she had his number, she knew it. They actually got along really, really well. And the thing that was extraordinary was, you know, she was 43 and had this remarkable career. He was like a great evaluator. He could look at you like Omar. I could look at you speaking and instantly know what you're doing right, where you're messing up, and can tell you in such a way that it doesn't offend you. And he was able to get her to do things she had never done before in her career, in her 40s and 50s. It was really an amazing story. The charisma between the two of them really is, I mean, there's just nothing like it today. There's nothing. People would wait in line for 3 days to buy tickets like they would for rock stars. Applause would go on for 40 minutes.
Wow.
And it was actually an art form where they would do the applause, where she would get, you know, her bouquet and she'd be like this, all this, and then she would hand him one of the roses and he would get down on his knees. It was very stylized, but it was just famous. I mean, people just they didn't stop. Their hands were red when they were done.
Yeah.
This went on forever and ever. I'm going to be playing for you today something really extraordinary. Now, those of you who've seen this whole series, the very first thing that I showed was a scene from Romeo and Juliet, when just him dancing. But I cut out the other part to say for this. By the way, we don't know if they were ever boyfriend and girlfriend, because you never know with the Nureyev. Let's just say he got around. But there was just an intense connection between them. And she was a very interesting character. She had married a Central American ambassador, and she sort of lived on that level, you know. They had a lot of money. Well, anyway, back to what I was going to say. One thing, I mean, you can sort of see it here. In real life, he was a very handsome man. You know, he really stand out in a crowd. But on stage, when he had the makeup and he had the charisma going, Nureyev was just amazing. And the charisma between the two of them was just astonishing. Now, in this scene in Romeo and Juliet, it may be some of the most beautiful classical music you've ever heard. It's by Prokofiev, and it's just so evocative. And the thing that really moves me in this is a very small scene that really is not all that technically demanding. But he gets down on his knees and kisses the hem of her garment. Oh, that's not what I want. I'm almost there, almost there. But he will get down on his knees and kiss the hem of her garment. And it is so erotic, and it's so intense. And then he leans back and he does this sort of thing. It is archetypal. It's beyond just, you know, the movements that he's doing. It's so much emotion. So I want you to watch what they're doing, especially this one time where he throws her and she just does this like a bird going back. They're just amazing. You're not going to see anything like this today.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you see the connection between the two of them? It's just so intense. I really thought that the story of Nureyev would not be complete without going into the relationships that took this extraordinary artist and actually pushed him to a whole nother level. And he's just, there's nothing like him today. And I, as you can see, really enjoy talking about him, so I hope maybe you enjoyed seeing it. So thank you very much.